Okay, here's number 14. You might pause this and give it a try and just kind of see how you do. It is quite a bit tougher though, so if you just want to listen and understand and write things down, that's fine too. So our x-intercepts are easy to spot. That would be 4, 0, and -6, 0. The y-intercept is 0 over and 8 down. The line of symmetry is right there. What's x equal right there? X equals -1. And the vertex is -1, comma, here's why it's tougher. We're not sure. Does not land nicely. So that doesn't mean that we should give up, okay? We just have some thinking to do because this is a little bit tougher on how to exactly calculate that. So here's how I'm going to do it. It's got some kind of a weird stretch, okay? We can tell that A isn't 1 because if it was, this would go 1 over and 1 up, okay? It's wider than that, which tells me that it must be less than 1. Interesting. So factored form, let's start there. Factored form would be what? Well, I know one of the x-intercepts is 4. So I write x minus 4. Because remember, it's all about what makes it 0. So what would I put for -6? Okay? What would become 0 with that? You got to kind of think backwards. If I put -6 here, -6 plus 6 is 0. If I put 4 here, 4 minus 4 is 0. So now I have the general build of it. But as we mentioned before, we confirm that that is not 1. We confirm that it was less than 1, okay? So I know that the x-coordinate of the vertex is -1. Okay, we determine that, -1, but how far down are we going? So what I would do here is I would plug in -1 for x and see what I get for that question mark. And it would work like this. And again, there might be other ways to do it. This is just the way that I'm choosing to do it. So I have some mysterious a value here. And then I'm plugging in -1 for x. Which is going to give me -1 minus 4 is -5. -1 plus 6 is 5. So this tells me that y, this question mark, this question mark here, okay, is equal to our a value times -5 times 5. What is -5 times 5? It's -25. Okay, so this is where I work in a little bit of guesswork, okay? I can estimate this as how far down it is, okay? It looks to me like it's -8 and a little bit more, right? Okay, so my a value is going to take -25 and it's going to bring it down to something around 8. So I might say, oh, you know what, a that looks like it's about a half. Well, what's a half times -25? That'd be -12.5. Does this look like it's -12.5 down? No, it's only -8 something. Can you spot what it is? What number here times -25 is going to give me around -8? And that would be 1/3, because 1/3 of -25 is about -8. In fact, it's a little more than -8. So I know that this must be 1/3, and that the stretch must be 1/3. And the vertex must be what then? -1 and -8 and 1/3. Woo! Okay, that was a good one. Again, don't be frustrated by that. If you didn't get the 1/3, you could still get tons of partial credit on this thing. Standard form. Okay, this is where it helps to look at the thing that I drew up again, which said that we're going factored form to standard form with the FOIL. So I need to FOIL this, x minus 4 times x plus 6. and then I need to multiply it by a third. So that's going to give me x squared plus 6x minus 4x minus 24, which equals x squared plus 2x minus 24. Okay. So now that I have that, I need to, hold on, something's a little bit wrong here, I can tell. I can tell that because I know that oh no, actually it's all good, and I'll explain why in a minute. Okay, so like I said, we need to multiply that by 1/3. So you need to take this thing here and multiply it by a third. That would give me a third x squared. And a third times 2 would be what? Well, 1/3 times 2 is 2/3. So that'd be 2/3 x, and then a third times negative 24 is negative 8. So that's actually my answer, which is 1/3 x squared plus 2/3 x. Take away 8. Now remember, C is the y-intercept. Okay? And I was thinking, wait, it's negative 8 1/3, but the y-intercept is negative 8. It's right. Okay? So that is how you do that one. Number 15, find characteristics of the function, graph it, include the key points, 2 points on each side of the vertex. Here we go. X-intercepts are what? What would make that 0? What would make that 0? And again, pause it if you want to try this on your own. Well, it would be negative 6 and 2. Okay, pretty good. So we got a good start here. I'm going to start drawing it by making a dot at negative 6, and I'm going to make a dot at 2. All right. So I know that A is 1 right here, so that's good. But I don't know the vertex, okay? So there's a few different ways that you can go about this. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to start thinking about my vertex. Okay? And I'm going to start thinking about the x value of the vertex. What's right in the middle of these two numbers? Is that the middle? Yeah, that's the middle. So this must be my axis of symmetry at x equals negative 2. So the question is, when x is negative 2, how far down do I go? So we need to take our original equation here, and we need to wonder, okay, when x is negative 2, what do I get for y? So you may want to write this somewhere else, because I'm going to erase this later. But I'm going to take my equation here that was given to me, and I'm going to plug in negative 2 for x. And that's going to give me negative 2 plus 6 is 4 times negative 2 minus 2, which is negative 4. So that's going to give me y is negative 16. So when I plugged in negative 2, I got negative 16. And then I think, does that make sense as an answer? Looks pretty good. Okay. So now our parabola is kind of shaping up pretty well over there. Okay. So A is 1, which is going to be 1 over and 1 up, 2 over and 4 up, 3 over and 9 up is going to take me to here. And I have my axis of symmetry going down the middle here, like that. So if that's 3, this must be 3. And there we go. Now it's kind of coming together. Okay, something obviously looks off, and I know that I made a mistake. You guys probably already caught it, and I don't want to redo the whole video. So let's start over from the beginning. No, not the beginning. Don't worry. It's not going to be the beginning. So we got here and here, and we determined that the axis of symmetry was negative 2. So this is correct. I just put the dot at the wrong place. Negative 2, negative 16, oh boy, is right there. Okay. Now it's symmetrical. Okay. Now I'm going to do what I did before, which is, I know A is 1, so 1 over and 1 up. 2 over and 4 up, 3 over and 9 up, and now I have my axis of symmetry coming down the middle, and that's got to be 1 over, that's got to be 2 over, and that's got to be 3 over. And now it's looking much better than that other one I did that was not symmetrical at all. And there it is. And I think that gives me all the rest of the stuff I need to solve the problem. So let's see, I have my y-intercept. It looks like I'm going 0 over and 12 down. And my stretch is 1. Okay, and my standard form, well, remember, we got a FOIL to get to standard form. So I need to FOIL x plus 6, x minus 2, which is going to be x squared, plus, let's see, no, minus 2x, plus 6x, minus 12. Again, please check out YouTube if you need to learn how to FOIL, but that will give you x squared plus 4x minus 12. Okay, and that's another way to get the y-intercept, because you know in standard form, C is the y-intercept. I also could have plugged in 0 for y. All sorts of different ways to solve that. Same set of instructions here. X-intercepts are, maybe try it on your own. What would make that 0? That would be 4, 0. And what would make that 0? That would be 1, 0. So I start building the structure of the thing. I got 1, 0, and all these different color. 1, 0. And 4, 0. Ooh, this one's close together. All right, and then I got, unfortunately, a is equal to -2, which is of course going to make the problem a lot harder, but it's nothing that we can't deal with. Let's get the line of symmetry. What's in between those? What number is in between 1 and 4? Nothing nice, right? So that would be 2.5. So I'm going to make a little dot there at 2.5 because that's right in between. And if it is -2, that tells me that it's going to be opening down. Those should go through the red dots, just a bad drawing. Okay, so what I have to do is I need to figure out, okay, if x is 2.5, what's y? Well, I have to plug it into the equation. So I have to plug it into the original. And I'm plugging in 2.5. Don't let that make you nervous. You can do it. Okay? So that gives me -2. 2.5 minus 4, maybe try this on your own, is -1.5. 2.5 minus 1 is positive 1.5. So now, in a calculator, I'm going to go -2 times -1.5 times positive 1.5, which is going to give me 4.5. So I know that this must be right here. Okay, so that is my vertex, 2.5, 4.5. My stretch we know is -2, okay, because that was given to us. All right, what else do we need? We need the y-intercept, and we need standard form. I'm going to go for standard form first. So remember, standard form is FOIL. So I have -2 times x minus 4, and then x minus 1. And the key to this is to FOIL x minus 4, x minus 1. And then whatever we get, multiply it by -2. So I have first, I have outer, I have inner, and I have last. And that is going to give me x squared minus 5x plus 4. And I need to multiply all of that by my a value of -2, which is going to give me -2x squared plus 10x minus 8. So I know that from standard form, C is my y-intercept, -8. And here is my axis of symmetry. So if that is like 2.5, my other point must be right there. And then I can just draw a line through it like this. And I'm good. Okay, again, another way to find the y-intercept if you didn't want to do it that way. Well, I could plug in 0 for x right here, because I know at the y-intercept this is 0. And if I do that, I would have -2 times -4 times -1. And guess what that is? -8. So when x was 0, y was -8. Okay, that's it for that video.